Welcome back to the GameShow Global Esports Cup here on GameShow_D2EN. This is game number 3, Scary Faces versus CIS Rejects. Last game, I'm not sure what happened to Scary Faces, I'll be honest. That was a 19-0 stomp. CIS Rejects, everything went right for them from the get-go. Your Broodmother getting double kills left, right, and center with a lot of nice rotations from the IO, and I don't think there's any surprise that the Wisp is going to be banned out by Scary Faces here. This is going to leave a lot of powerful heroes left inside the pool with the priority put on the Windranger, IO, and the Slaughter, letting slip through Nightstalker, Darkseer, and Winter Wyvern for the first 3 heroes we see this game. This is going to be the real test of Scary Faces' team, if they're able to come back after such a disheartening loss. 19-0, you just can't top that. CIS Rejects looked flawless in game number 2. Maybe minor mistakes here and there, but they didn't even lose a hero once, which in and of itself is incredibly impressive. Scary Faces are going to follow up that Nightstalker with the Queen of Pain, the ability to go aggressive, a lot of damage to kill off heroes, even if they're inside the Cold Embrace, and in general, a decent start to their draft. The next couple bans will fly. Huskar Shedefine, banned out by Scary Faces, and Bane, banned out by CIS Rejects. Are we going to see the Broodmother again? It's available. They already have the Darkseer. That messes up your lanes a lot if you go for the Brood. So that's probably the reason why Scary Faces don't ban it out. It would have really messed things up for CIS Rejects. But do they ban it out themselves either? I'm not so sure. Instead, they'll take out the Undying, afraid that Scary Faces are going to ramp up the aggression, go super aggro with it. And I think that is not too far from the truth. Scary Faces at least are angled in such a way that if they get a lot of early momentum, could do a lot with it. As CIS Rejects pick up the Templar Assassin. There's very few matchups that Templar Assassin really struggles with in the current metagame. And Queen of Pain's definitely not one of them, a fairly even matchup between those two heroes. At least in mid lane 1v1. For Scary Faces, not exactly sure what this pick is going to be. They have a lot of flexibility with the Nightstalker Queen of Pain, although there are a lot of different options for them laning-wise, they tend to be a little bit more on the aggressive side of things. Another one of their supports would probably be in order here. Dazzle's not bad by any means, and I think that would be a reasonable selection for them, but instead it's going to be the Gyrocopter. Fair enough. Can't really complain about that at all. We probably have the 3 cores from the Scary Faces down on the deck already. It's not out of the question to see Nightstalker bump down into a support role and have them pick up another offlaner, put Queen of Pain into the offlane, but I think in general, Scary Faces have a lot of ways to fight early, which is going to help them a lot. It's not like they were lacking that in game number 2. They just weren't ever able to tap into that because the early game went so terribly for them. They're going to need some sort of support to hold down the fort. Something like a Tusk here that has, again, slipped through and is available for Scary Faces should they want to pick it up. Not necessarily the best dual lane offlane with the Nightstalker. Not terrible, not great. But in general, just something like that Tusk. It doesn't even have to be that hero, but somebody to open up the fights early on and hold down the fort. Earthshaker also could work. For CIS Rejects, Darkseer, Winter Wyvern, and Templar Assassin have a lot of natural synergy and how aggressive you're able to play, but the early game at the very least is going to tend to be a little bit more passive than what we saw from CIS Rejects game 1. Really, one of the big things that went so well for CIS Rejects was the IO rotations. Not something that you hear very often, but the couple of movements down towards bottom lane with the Broodmother were terrifying. And we're going to see a Spirit Breaker for CIS Rejects. That part about them being a little bit passive early on has kind of been thrown out the window. Spirit Breaker plus the Darkseer is a very potent dual lane. The Scary Faces now pick up the Ember Spirit. What are Scary Faces trying to do with this Ember pick? It's not going to be the Nightstalker in the core position. At least I don't expect it to be. Maybe it's a support Gyrocopter. Maybe it's an offlane Queen of Pain, mid-Ember, safe lane Gyro. Or at least that's what most people would expect looking at these picks. I'm not sure if they're well equipped enough to deal with the Spirit Breaker Darkseer, though. Well, what would tie everything together for Scary Faces? They definitely want some way to cancel Spirit Breaker's charge, or at least respond to Spirit Breaker's deep ganks. But in general, it feels like Scary Faces are just putting a lot of emphasis on their individual play instead of on draft synergy. Ember Spirit, Gyrocopter, Queen of Pain, Nightstalker, some of the best heroes in this patch. they're just not necessarily the best combined altogether. It feels like it's a hodgepodge of really good heroes, whereas CIS rejects have a lot of ways to open up fights, ways to transition off of that, ways to scale. In general, it feels like their team is a little bit more balanced, where Scary Faces are a little lopsided, especially concerning is this early game for them. If they can make it through that early game and get the levels up for the Ember Spirit and the Queen of Pain, they can definitely fight, but the first 10 minutes are going to be a bit of a challenge. Scary Faces will ban out the Juggernaut. And CIS rejects, let's see what their Safe Flame Farmer is going to be. They're open to do a lot of different things here. I'd like to see something that tends towards the aggressive, but if they want to greed it up and pick up something more late game scaling angled, I think they could probably get away with it. Scary Face's lockdown is Chains from Ember Spirit and Night Stalker's Crippling Fear. At least for Blinkers, like the Anti-Mage that I was thinking about. It's just not super reliable until they get items up on this Queen of Pain. She can pick up like an Orchid, or if Gyrocopter goes for early points in the Missile, which might be an option for them. Scary Faces could run this Gyrocopter as a support, which is not a terrible idea at all. Burns through defensive charges of Templar Assassin. As long as you're able to get a couple of early kills, you can really snowball yourself to victory. Scary Faces draft still could come together nicely. But Necrophos for CIS rejects. This is going to be really hard for SFZ to deal with. They have the burst damage from the Queen of Pain. The silence from Night Stalker also very annoying for Necro. But is it going to be enough? The natural counter to Necrophos is Ancient Apparition. And if they go for AA, although I don't think that's a terrible pick for Scary Faces, would they have enough to use that Chilling Touch early on? Would it allow their lanes to still work out? They're going to settle on a Lion instead. And I think this is what Scary Faces needed. They just need raw lockdown. But is it going to work out for them? I would be really scared to go up against CIS Rejects lineup. And in general, I think their draft just meshes a lot better. Let's see how Scary Faces perform in their lanes. Something that could change things up, although the terrifying part about CIS Rejects is their mid-game just group up and push you down. Getting to that point could be difficult. Scary Faces do have individually very potent laners. And let's introduce all of our hero player matchups. Axmo is going to be on the Queen of Pain. He's been on the Beastmaster for the first 2 games. Shadowy is going to be on the Night Stalker. General on the Ember Spirit. Lion by Art Style and Gyrocopter by RMN. CIS Rejects on the Radiant side. They'll put Afterlife on the Darkseer. Spirit Breaker by Golblack. Templar Assassin will be handled by Iceberg. Winter Wyvern played by Kant. And Necrophos, excuse me, going to be played by Ramses. Taking the game late against this Necrophos is going to be really difficult for SFZ, and a lot of their damage tends to be damage over time until they get their ultimates online, which usually is not a big issue for the Queen of Pain, but it looks like she's going to be in the offlane role, and I'm not sure if she's going to have a good enough time in lane to really have that much of an impact. That said, Necrophos, Spirit Breaker, Winter Wyvern aren't the greatest heroes at killing off the Queen, but they do have an annoying amount of poke, an annoying amount of damage that will put the Queen of Pain at a level of HP that she's not going to be comfortable with. Bounty for bounty split, probably one for each of the mid laners. Templar Assassin versus Ember Spirit is a matchup that can go either way. Generally, I see Templar Assassins do a little bit better in this lane, but it's not something that can't be won by the Ember, by any means. The game will be paused, and instantly unpaused, so we'll get back into it. This is a very important matchup for both of these teams. The last game of a best of 3, whoever wins this moves on to play against Empire tomorrow. Whoever loses is out of the tournament as a whole. A lot of pressure for them to perform. I do like that Scary Faces aren't going to change up their draft too much after such a commanding loss. When you lose like that, you can't let that get under your skin. You can't lose the game before you even start out and mind game yourself. Stick to your guns, stick to what you know, and let's see if it works out for them. Everybody's going to go out to their lanes. Winter Wyvern is going to sit in lane to drop down a ward, as well as to make sure that the Queen of Pain doesn't get this range creep out in front. The Queen of Pain does have the range creep there, but Winter Wyvern's just going to tank this first shot, and the creep equilibrium will, for the most part, be maintained by CIS Reject, so that range creep doesn't get focused down nearly as hard. And a lot of damage in Axmo. This Queen of Pain is going to find it difficult to get to that level 2 mark, which is really where your Queen of Pain can start doing quite a bit. Just how annoying this Winter's Arctic Burn is for offlaners to deal with. For now, Queen of Pain's trading pretty effectively. It might still be able to get that level 2 mark a lot faster than I would have anticipated. Oh, Necrovos gonna start trading right clicks though. The Queen of Pain's gonna be forced to use the majority of her regen, trying to get to this level 2 mark, but up towards top. Darkseer is going to get bumped into. They're not gonna throw the Earth Spike. The chances that they get that kill are really next to none. Darkseer would have to make a big blunder for that to work out. Darkseer will have a similar amount of farm to the Queen of Pain, but a lot less experience. And now Queen of Pain is accompanied by the Night Stalker. This lane for Scary Faces gets a lot stronger now that Night Stalker is down here. It's just a meaty body for them to throw at the Winter Wyvern, at the Necrophos. We're very prone to just getting run down. Necrophos still farming well. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to stop that, but at least it's securing Aximo some good space. And it also leaves the Templar Assassin and the Ember Spirit 1v1 against each other. Flame Guard, ooh, it's gonna be First Blood drawn on the Darkseer. Goldblack still chasing though, has the Iron Shell. Might be able to get a return kill on Artstyle with the bash. Goldblack gonna get it. Now has level 2 and the charge. I don't think he goes for RMN here. First Blood's gonna go the way of Scary Faces. Good amount of gold going the way of SFZ. Still, the Templar Assassin and Necrophos continue farming. I was going to talk about mid laner. Defensive charges were burned down by that Flame Guard, but just not enough damage, and Templar Assassin will be fine, especially now that she almost has her bottle done. Oh, bottom lane. Blink is forced out by Aximo. Such a long cooldown early. We'll still try to trade, and we'll drop a Shadow Strike onto Cant. Winter Wyvern needs to be careful, but has Cold Embrace if things go south. Another Void will be thrown. Cant is going to have to use that Embrace now as Necrophos comes in with the heal. So much sustain in this bottom lane. It's really hard for Scary Faces to dislodge them. Across the board, a fairly even laning stage. Ramsey's going to take another Void, but Nightstalker can't sustain that spam any further after this Clarity runs its course, at least. He'll have a couple more, but then we'll probably have to be forced to go back towards base. I don't think this Nightstalker is going to have the scariest of first night times. Queen of Pain is going to disconnect, and we are going to have a pause. Unfortunately so. This Queen of Pain gonna take a good amount of damage here. Has a blink, though. Queen of Pain should be fine. Or at least I think she is. I'm not exactly sure where those particles are ending up going towards. I think the little scarab that Ramsey just threw out has actually already hit. Now, regardless, our late finish for either team, not super huge. Even though CIS rejects lose First Blood, with the return kill for the Spirit Breaker instantly, Goldblack's up to level 3, almost. Near enough. 9 XP points till he has that. And is able to get boots. The aggressive potential of the Spirit Breaker gets so much stronger once you get both your charge and your bash Orb of Venom and boots. You don't usually see boots be a major damage output change, but when you add that extra movement speed, the bashes do stack up a lot harder. Good to go for Maximo, and we're going to get underway again. Look away. Queen of Pain, as I said, probably will be fine, but Shadowy's Clarity, not so much. That's going to be cancelled, unfortunately for the Night Stalker. He has one more Void, but that's about it. Still will be able to stick around this bottom lane and get the experience in the absence of the Queen of Pain. The sustain from Scary Faces in this bottom lane just can't compare to the Winter Wyvern Necrophos, but who charge up towards top. Or not charge up towards top, just running at them. Which, in a sense, is charge, just not the charge of darkness. Armen and Artstyle will be fine. They'll be back under their tower and farm up a little bit. This Gyrocopter is just getting much less than that of the Necrophos, which is a little bit surprising. It really feels like just the power of Spirit Breaker and Darkseer, even though it's not actively killing the Gyrocopter, is still forcing him to play a little bit more defensively, and naturally loner and Shiro that doesn't deal with Iron Shell super well. Gyrocopter does need to give them a lot of space, but mid lane. Again, traded blows. This time around, Templar Assassin's getting really close to level 3 into Refraction, though. Ember Spirit's ability to kill her off is almost nil, but this lane is going pretty evenly, which I think is okay for General, at least until the charge comes in. Ember Spirit doesn't have level 6. This could be very difficult for him. No points in Meld, and he does have the chains to buy a little bit more space. Without the bash, General is going to live. They'll bottle up the Spirit Breaker, Templar Assassin gets the Bounty Rune, everybody will go back to their lanes, as Shadowy sits on this Invis Rune bottom. This is going to be secured for the Ember Spirit. I don't think the Ember Spirit is going to be able to get a kill. 1-1 is probably where our kill score is going to rest, unless somebody gets caught out of position. Both teams have good ways to capitalize on that. That sucker is going to be pinged out by the Necrophos, who for now is repelled, but another traded blows between Iceberg and General. Although you can deal with the defensive charges of Refraction pretty well with the Ember Spirit, you can't trade physical damage with the TA. Our right clicks are just so much more potent as Winter Wyvern gets bumped into by Shadowy. Arctic Burn trying to fly over the trees, has the Cold Embrace, Charge of Darkness is there, and Shadowy's super deep. This Night Stalker went way too aggressively, and he can't get through all those trees. One right-click, Necrophos gets the kill. And with it, 10 stacks of level 2 Sadist. Hasn't gone for the point Heartstopper. And is going to be just fine. It helps out the Necrophos so much. I think we're going to get to the point where CIS rejects are just able to group without much threat of Scary Face's damage output. A lot of pressure rests on this Queen of Pain to get kills as soon as she finds herself level 6. Tango will be passed over to Axmo. Has 5 stick charges. The Queen of Pain probably won't die here, but then again can't stop this Necrophos from constantly just farming up. Templar Assassin also is getting a good amount of space, but right now, Invis Rune on either side. There's a little bit of fight breaking out down the bottom lane. A couple more right clicks towards Axmo, but that's not going to be lethal, but the charge on General will be. He tried to go for the mass remnants onto Iceberg. Almost would have killed her off, if not killed her off directly, but isn't able to get that because of the charge coming in from Gold Black. And this Spirit Breaker has found really good angles. Level 4 is going to stack up for the Templar Assassin inside the large camp. Although Templar Assassin isn't going to have her Ancient stack, that ward's going to expire soon as well, and CIS rejects have a lot of this map to abuse. Arctic Burn's available for camp, also has the Cold Embrace, trying to get this Bounty Rune. The race for the Bounty Rune is going to commence as soon as we get underway again. It really feels like Queen of Pain's having some pretty major issues, not something that's good for Scary Faces at all. Well, this is fun. I'd love to get back underway. Love to actually have a game to talk about. For now, it's just going to be an Illusion Rune for the Templar Assassin, and probably a Bounty Rune for the Winter Wyvern. I don't think Night Stalker is going to be able to edge out the Wyvern here. And again, I don't think the Night Stalker is going to be able to kill off Cant. Maybe I'm underestimating how much damage you can put out, but Cold Embrace and Arctic Burn, Winter Wyvern probably will be fine. There is no backup close. Good to go. We're back underway. Winter Wyvern gets the Bounty Rune, and now it's going to Arctic Burn over the trees. With a couple more pot shots going the way of Shadowy on the retreat. Here comes Ember Spirit, though. General could throw a wrench into this, and they have a couple remnants to throw, too. In fact, onto Cant. They get an angle onto the Winter Wyvern, but Ember Spirit's going to be forced back in mid. Illusions will be popped by Iceberg. The Ember Spirit for now has not been detected. Iceberg's on the low ground, sees the Queen of Pain. They're going to get a nice wrap. The defensive charges are gone. Really well executed gank coming out from Scary Faces. That was very well done. CIS Rejects did not have the appropriate vision to spot out that movement coming out from the Ember Spirit, to spot that rotation coming out from the Night Stalker. She only knew the Queen of Pain was there. If you see the Queen of Pain in mid lane, your first gut reaction is, hey, Ember Spirit's going to gank a side lane. You'll notify your allies, but you won't be thinking that he's going to get a full wraparound on you. That's really going to help out Scary Faces a lot. The Ember Spirit has been a little bit behind the Templar Assassin in farm up until this point, but now is going to be on even footing with levels, and very close to even in farm. Charging down towards bottom lane. Gold Black wants to get his hands bloody with Queen of Pain, and they have the Reaper's Scythe soon. This is going to come a little too quickly, I think. And with the blink out, Queen of Pain is fine. They kind of need Reaper's Scythe in order to be able to get that kill. It's not a bad thing that charge doesn't connect, but now Scary Faces are going to smoke up. Line is ready to go, and so is our man. Gyrocopter got his ultimate a little bit faster than his Necrophos, and now Ramses going to take the Void. Blink in, cooldowns on the ground. Ramses has no way to get out of this alive, and he's going to die. Again, another nicely executed gank coming out from Scary Faces. They'll get an instant D-ward too. CIS Rejects are really forced to play so very scared. At nighttime, even not for the Night Stalker, but just for the Ember Spirit and the Queen of Pain to roam into a lane undetected, could very easily set up more kills. The TA has a couple of traps, though, laid down, and a ward to spot out similar rotations as she secures the 8-minute rune. Now that Invis, and now that daytime breaks, things get a lot easier for CIS Rejects. Even with that one death on the Templar Assassin, she's still at the top of the net worth chart, and is going to start making an Ancient stack. She now knows that that's not been blocked, and her neutral stack is still waiting for her. Although no larger than when Winter Wyvern left it. Or rather, that might have been Spirit Breaker. Here we haven't talked about a lot this game is Darkseer, and that's because he's been pretty quiet. Just farming away. Doing Darkseer things, throwing Iron Shells down on the creep wave, and pushing that out to the best of his ability. But another fight may be brewing bottom lane. Gyrocopter never left after going for that gank, and is still going to Apply a little bit of pressure onto this Necrophos. And maybe a little bit more than just a little bit of pressure. Having our men down here significantly increases the threat level of Scary Faces. But at mid lane, they're going to find another jump on Iceberg. This time with Meld Strikes, so turning around at a general. Sonic Wave, Ramses and the Templar Assassin are dropping low. Shadow Strike is being absorbed by the refraction charges. Iceberg, with a little bit of help with the Spirit Breaker's bash, will be able to kill off Axmo. And Templar Assassin survives. Another bash. General has remnants, but not enough mana to use them. They get the Sideblade spill. Second Sideblade spill isn't going to connect. Nice chains onto Goldblack. Is going to cancel his charge under the tower. The level of play from both of these teams has been a lot of fun to watch. Templar Assassin turning at just the right moment, getting that extra refraction shot, getting a Sideblade spill, and just a very well-timed chains coming out from General. Not the easiest thing to do, not the hardest either, but just, in general, really, really good play coming out from General. Oh dear, that was a terrible, terrible pun. Wasn't even supposed to be that way. Huh. Well, Queen of Pain is going to be dead for a long time. The power of this Reaper's Scythe, you want to get kills as soon as you have it, and is going to be one of their first usages of said spell. Is going to increasingly be difficult for Scary Faces to manage. Flame Guard can absorb a lot of the damage, but Ember Spirit's not going to reliably have his Flame Guard. Now chasing forward for Iceberg. Very low after that skirmish, never went back to base. His Silence up fighting with the Meld, has a double damage room, but Iceberg will fall. This time around is not able to turn. Flame Guard is very good at dealing with those charges, and now smoked up. The Lion and the Gyrocopter are going to make the long trip down to the bottom lane. They'll blink onto the Spirit Breaker, looking to kill off Goldblack, but that's not going to happen. But what might happen is going after this Necrophos and Cant on the Winter Wyvern. They'll guess the wrong direction, and now find an angle of opportunity. They're going to Hex up Cant, call down on the Winter Wyvern, completely isolated. Cant's going to fall. Now, how many of these creeps can they steal, and can they get out alive? Artsail's going to be charged. Goldblack taking a live damage from the Rocket Barrage. Not quite lethal until the Finger of Death comes through. And Artsail's going to be able to kill off Goldblack. And now Ramses also will fall. Scary Faces 8-4. Looking much different from the Scary Faces of last game that just couldn't find any momentum going their way. Clean rotations. In general, just finding really, really nice movements. And this is looking a lot more like game number 1, where it's just so very close, very back and forth, a lot of fun, exciting jumps, and Scary Faces now are the ones with momentum. It is daytime, but only for a little while longer. Shadowy is going to have the second nighttime, really where Nightstalker can start spreading his wings and getting a lot done on the map. Charge on the Ember Spirit is going to be canceled as Nightstalker gets that tower deny. Not a lot of mana, but by the time he walks back to base, it'll be nighttime. And nighttime's fun time if you're a Nightstalker. Queen of Pain, even from the offlane role, is farming very well, in fact, out-farming the Necrophos. And even without the farm, is level 8. That's what you kind of expect if Queen of Pain's having a mediocre time in the mid lane, right about now. Not even bad. With level 8, you have so much burst damage. She doesn't even go for the second point Stifling Dagger. So she has that extra blink mobility too. The CIS rejects don't really have the greatest amount of lockdown to deal with until they get Winter's Curse up. But Winter Wyvern now ticks level 6. So Kent has that crucial tool available for them to be able to turn around these engagements in the CIS rejects' favor. They're going up and up with the Earth Spike. Call down onto Ramses. Hexed up. The Necrophos can't get another heal off. Sonic Wave. He pops his Mango, pops his heal. Cold Embrace. Ramses fine. Winter's Curse in their tower. And Aurent Men is going to get bashed to oblivion. And Reaper's Scythe. Ramses going to get that kill and now is almost at full after an Urn Charge and with those 10 Sadist stacks. If you gank a Necrophos, you better be damn sure that you have enough damage to kill him off before that happens. But now, the rest of the team is going to follow up. Goldblack's going to take the Earth Spike. Another Cold Embrace. This time they don't have the Sonic Wave, and Goldblack is going to survive a little while longer. Chained down to the ground, looking for the Nether Strike. Catches out Shadowy. Sustained by the Necrophos. Goldblack will finally fall with a Sleight of Fist, but they're diving on their tower, and the Nightstalker will also die. General has more remnants. Queen of Pain has her blink. Both of these heroes should be able to get out to safety, and they will. The power of Necrophos is showing, though. It really is. Just being able to sustain your team for so long. Even though the Spirit Breaker goes down eventually, it's enough time to get that Nether Strike through. That was supposed to be Scary Face's aggressive move. It's their nighttime. They're the ones that are supposed to be calling the shots, but it's a slightly better trade for CIS rejects, especially considering who gets the gold and who loses it. The Gyrocopter hasn't even respawned yet. Necrophos is so annoying to play up against. Two General finds a kill on Winter Wyvern deep behind enemy lines, and then TP's out. That just happened. Sorry for not expecting that. I'm pretty sure Winter Wyvern didn't expect it either. Nicely done, Ember Spirit. That's gonna help mitigate the losses that they just sustained in the bottom lane, making it mostly an even trade across the map. But Mechanism is online for the Darkseer. CIS rejects are getting all of the sustain tools that they need to group up. With Death Pulse, with Mech, with Cold Embrace, it's going to be so hard for Scary Faces to get these kills unless they can do it with the instant barrage of damage. And we already saw that Sonic Wave plus the Scream, and even with the Calldown combined, it's not enough to kill off this Necrophos, who looks like he's going to go towards a Rod of Atos, or maybe Nocturne or Bloodstone. No matter what it is, it's going to tank up Necrophos a lot. Personally, I kind of like Atos. This game, maybe it's not the best, though, because you're dealing with a super mobile Queen of Pain, a super mobile Ember Spirit that even if they're slowed down, aren't going to be bothered too much, as long as the Remnants have already fallen. Or are already placed down previous to the engagement. You know what? Even with just a casual Vitality booster, Ramses is a lot tankier than your Necrophos ought to be. And this is with Intelligence Shreds, too. He's on 1331 HP whenever he's on Strength. It's more than the Gyrocopter, even though he's going to have his completed Sange. And we haven't talked a lot about this Templar Assassin for a while. Iceberg's been mostly quiet this game. Not to be unexpected for Templar Assassins. Usually the early game is a little bit more slow until you pick up that Desolator, and then you start grouping up with the team. This is the calm before the storm. CIS rejects are at a disadvantage in kills, 6 to 10. But it feels like they're the ones that are going to hit their stride harder than Scary Faces if something doesn't happen now during this nighttime for SFZ. And maybe it's happening on Cant. They're gonna get the jump, the chains on the ground, the void, the call down, silence up. Cannot do anything about this death. And Gyrocopter will get the last hit. His RMN with that second missile will secure the death on the support. Just getting caught out when trying to go for the D ward around the ancient area. The sentry isn't even going to spot out the ward. Ah, it's unfortunate. And now Tier 1 Tower is going to fall in the favor of Scary Faces. Necrophos is here. They're going to jump onto him. There's a charge through. The chains are going to be there. The charge is going to be interrupted. Silence up. The Spearbreaker can't do very much more as they vacuum back RMN as well as Artsail. One side blade hit. That's about all they're going to get. Chain down to the ground. Ramses is low, but mech'd up with another Death Pulse. They're almost at full HP. They get the charge. Winter's Curse General's going to fall. He can't do anything about that. And now he's down the sidelines for 73 minutes, or 73 seconds. It feels like 73 minutes. No, that's not a dieback, that's Necrophos. 7 to 11 is our kill score. And CIS rejects are getting to a really scary spot in this game where Scary Faces just can't kill anybody. Unless they commit pretty much everything. Charging forward. Goldblack's found eyes on the Queen of Pain. Cancels his charge on the high ground. A bit of an awkward spot here. Calldown is going to be thrown. Earthspike connects on the Ramses. Finger of Death. They'll kill him off. Gyrocopter gets it. And that's very important. That's one of the two ways you deal with Necrophos. You either kill his team or you kill the Necrophos. Either way, you can't let anybody escape on low HP, and the Winter Wyvern will die to the Sonic Wave. Now, Scary Faces are getting wind back under their sails as the Spirit Breaker charges away. Be free, Goldblack. He's gonna be fine. Or maybe I spoke too soon. Here comes a Night Stalker. Scratch that fine bit. Goldblack's gonna get bashed down. Now here comes Axe Mode too. Queen of Pain going to slow him down further, and Goldblack doesn't have enough mana for another charge. Void is going to bump into him. He charges into the 2. And is going to end up going down. Here's Iceberg. Templar Assassin is going to get Earthspike. Nice vacuum by the Darkseer, but yeah, it looks like that's going to save the Templar Assassin's life. They'll be content with their spoils. 14 to 7. Scary Faces are getting farm on more of their heroes, it seems. This mechanism on the Darkseer, although very useful in that last fight, hasn't really turned around too many great engagements. It's still an incredibly even game. It's so hard to call who has a substantial lead here. 2,500 net worth and 2,500 experience in the grand scheme of things doesn't mean too much for Scary Faces, when they're not taking objectives at the very least. And their team is good at killing off these heroes, but not very good at dealing damage to structures. None of these heroes, when you look at them, come to mind as a pushing hero. Especially not Queen of Pain when you go for a Dagon. A very aggressive choice. I think the only more aggressive choice might have been Necrobook from Maxwell, which I wouldn't have minded at all. Fits the flavor of this game. Her solo kill potential is a lot better, and it helps them burst down that Necrophos, which is one of the biggest issues this game. Another thing that they need to consider against this Necrophos is getting a Glimmer Cape. They don't have great heroes to build it up. Charge onto General. The Ember Spirit doesn't have a Remnant out. He has 3 available. Nether Strike's going to connect. General with this Desolator is going to be dropping low. His Remnant flies, but he can't activate. The Ember Spirit is isolated on an island alone. Is this going to be destroyed by that Desolator TA? Now going to Roshan Pit. CIS rejects do this quickly and reliably. The amount of sustain that they have, can Scary Faces defend? They should know that this is going on. They have a little bit of vision around the pit. From that remnant that was placed down, they are going to start collapsing here. Queen of Pain is making her way towards this area, but it looks like Roshan's going to fall before they make their major move. Silencing up the Necrophos. It is daytime. That silence is significantly less impactful, and with the Atos, they're chasing forward for Shadowy. Oh no, Nightstalker needs to be very careful here, but they get their major objective. Nice call down, and Rocket Brush on a Gold Black. Sonic Wave over the top with a Dagon, they'll get the Spirit Breaker. Now silencing up Ramses. The Necrophos' estate has been taken away from this fight, but with the Reaper's Sight, looks like he might be able to kill off Shadowy, but not with the extra respawn timer. Iceberg is dusted, Templar Assassin's left alone, and Scary Faces are able to take the fight even after losing the Aegis, and now look for the Darkseer. He's able to get his Surge off, but he's chained down to the ground and fingered to oblivion. 18-9. Scary Faces couldn't get out of that pit. Or, CIS Rejects couldn't get out of that pit. Scary Faces were able to chase them. Constantly. Multiple chains connecting, just locking them in place as CIS Rejects were a little bit spread apart. And that Nightstalker's silence, even though it was daytime and was only 3 seconds duration, is so good against Necrophos. He has no natural way to deal with it. He needs to be able to get off his spells to have a huge impact inside these fights. Else he's just a mediocre right-clicking hero with a 1-point Heartstopper. Scary Faces heroes don't even have the greatest HP pools to begin with. They rely on their burst damage to get kills, and these fights are ending a little bit too early for CIS Rejects. At least the last couple have. Especially with this Queen Pain's Dagon, now level 2, is it? Yeah, leveling the Dagon for Aximo. Not sure if I like the leveling of the Dagon, but the Dagon in the last fight was really good at killing off the Spirit Breaker. If they didn't have it, I think the Cold Embrace, and maybe Goldblock's able to get off a Nether Strike or a charge afterwards. And who knows? With the appropriate follow-up, that could have been the difference. CIS Rejects still have a very farmed Templar Assassin, and a reasonably farmed Necrophos. Nobody's super far behind when it comes to their major item progression. With all of these Dagon levels, it does make the lead coming out from Scary Faces a little bit deceptive. Most of their lead is tied up inside those Dagon levels. Which, although great now, might scale off as the game progresses. Oh, Spirit Breaker going for a charge. Are they able to cancel that? He cancels that. Oh, now they're going to be able to Dagon him down. Unstoppable spree for Axmo. Poor Spirit Breaker. Nobody expects the entire enemy team to be in your woods. All they wanted to do was go down in bottom lane and at least be imposing. 10 kill lead for Scary Faces. It's impressive that CIS Rejects are still able to keep this at a narrow gap, just by nature of how fast Templar Assassin's been able to farm. Pew pew, Sideblades will mop up yet another camp as the tier 2 tower is sieged by Scary Faces. Bottom tier 2 isn't going to be long for this world, and with the vision that's placed down by Scary Faces, I don't think CIS.R really want to contest this, and they won't. Although they don't know about the vision, their own is very, very lackluster, especially when darkness is popped. These wards see next to nothing. Templar Assassin traps are, in fact, one of their best tools, but oh, mid lane, Winter's Curse going to be thrown onto creeps. General is going to be able to get out of there. I think that was a creep Winter's Curse, so the damage was mitigated. He's going to be able to get a Sleight of Fist, and that charge is going to connect. Nether Strike, however, will. Onto Shadowy. Nightstalker's doing battle against his Darkseer illusion. Turns for a Void. Shadowy taking down to the Urn charge. Is that going to be lethal? He has the Urn for himself and Tangos. Both him and General are going to limp away. Winter Wyvern not so lucky. Gyrocopter without wings, chasing forward after Scary Faces. And they're all able to get out alive. 9-20. The only casualty is that Winter Wyvern. I suppose it's nice that CIS Rejects are able to stay out on the map and keep on farming, whereas Scary Faces have to go back to base. But we really are in a situation where we're not seeing very many objectives being taken. Still only a Dagon 2 on the Queen of Pain. I say only, it's still a massive amount of damage, and maybe it's able to kill off one of these heroes if she has some backup. Line is not smoked. Is she going to open up onto the Necrophos? Just scouting now. Heartstopper Aura is doing a number on the Queen of Pain. She's going to need a little bit more oomph to be able to kill off the Necrophos. And nothing's going to come around the corner. So Queen of Pain has been repelled. We're slowing down here as we are just kind of waiting for the next smoke rotations from either team. Grouped up like they kind of want it. Maybe Scary Faces would rather wait for the Gyrocopter's BKB before they get really aggressive. Both teams are really hard to fight into. Scary Faces are so mobile around the map that you're hardly ever going to find just one of them. which is really where CIS rejects are at their strongest. If you're able to just get a Winter's Curse, get a kill, move on to the next target, get the Reaper's Scythe kill, but dude, charging forward, maybe they'll catch out this Ember Spirit. It is nighttime, the charge is going to connect. General is going to get Nether struck up, Winter's Curse, and everything in the kitchen sink thrown at him to get that kill. They hold on to the Reaper's Scythe. Maybe they'd rather have used the Reapers than held on to the Curse. No matter. A dead Ember Spirit's a dead Ember Spirit, and that's good for CIS rejects. With it, they're going to start putting a little bit of pressure on this tier 2 tower mid. Pretty much the perfect time for CIS rejects to go for that gank, since it is daytime now. I really am missing the lack of cloak items on both of these teams. It looks like Goldblack's going to be going for probably just a Glimmer Cape on the Spirit Breaker, but both of these teams would be really wise to pick that item up. It's so good against Necrophos, and it looks like that's going to be Lion's next purchase. Templar Assassin gets the tier 2 tower top, but the double damage rune is doing so much to that structure. And uncontested too. For the most part though, we're seeing the map be split up very evenly across the map. Right now that's about the line. Tier 2 and mid still stands for the Dire, Tier 2 and mid still stands for the Radiant. Both of the safe lane towers apiece have fallen. The kill score might mislead you a little bit. This game is incredibly close. Net worth advantage towards either side really isn't doing anything inside these fights. It's all about who gets the jump on who. And with the double blinks up, or one on the Necrophos, one on the Templar Assassin. Oh no, they actually didn't go blink on the TA. Interesting. Never mind, I spoke too soon. The other blink dagger was on the Darkseer. Sorry about that. I knew there was two on CIS rejects. I just it's so weird to see a TA without having that blink dagger purchase. Going for the BKB though makes complete sense from Iceberg, and it's probably better when he has so many other heroes to open up the engagement for him. Although, if he went for Blink Dagger, I don't think we could complain about that either. It's just that good on the hero. Scary Faces are going to maintain this vision on the enemy side of the map and might be able to catch out Afterlife here. Darkseer? Oh, they know he's around the corner. Force Staff down, but blink away. And Darkseer will be fine, as Art Style is going to be forced all the way back towards well. As Scary Faces pick up their own BKB. As soon as that BKB is picked up by CIS rejects for the Templar Assassin, Gyrocopter is not too far behind. It's difficult to decide when these teams are going to get a significant lead, or who's going to be the one to make those next aggressive movements. Templar Assassin might want some assistance dealing with General. If they kill off this Ember Spirit, that'd be great, but even the Ember Spirit is getting a good amount of farm. No, Reaper's Sight, that's a Queen of Pain illusion! Oh, they really didn't want to use it there. Unfortunate. Unfortunate for CIS rejects. Maybe that's an opening for Scary Face, not having to deal with that obnoxious Necrophos ulti. At least to push down a tier 1 tower top. Our men's already doing a good amount of damage here. Tier 1 tower is going to be dropped pretty low. Turns on his Aquila, and we'll be able to bring down the tower. Maybe not freely, though. Here comes CIS rejects. There's smoke. They bump into Art Style. Poor Lion gets Winter's Curse. Can't do anything about surviving here. The charge is going to stun General. They want to go for this Ember Spirit. Remnant was placed down defensively. He'll be fine. Rest of his teammates are sticking around in this top lane. They think about going around the corner to try and cut off one of these other supporting heroes that might have lagged around too long. The only trade is going to be a line for tier 1. Neither side are going to be too heartbroken about it. Tier 1 tower top doesn't mean that much, and Lion, although getting that Glimmer Cape is super important, don't get me wrong, has a level 11, and isn't going to be shut down too much, just by one death. Blink Dagger is now up for the Templar Assassin, so we have the third for CIS rejects. And, yeah, the game state doesn't change. Roshan is available. And although both teams could, in theory, take Roshan, not freely when the enemy team is up. But oh, they catch Ramses down in the trees. They'll be able to bring him down. Necrophos off the table. And now Scary Faces might be able to go for Roshan or something along those lines. Dagon level 4. This Queen of Pain's burst damage is through the roof. And now they're going to back off into that Roche pit. Scary Faces want to transition this pick off into a map objective. Although CIS rejects might be looking for the tier 2 tower in mid-trade. We'll try for it, but it looks like this Roshan is going to fall quicker as CIS rejects get a little bit anxious. Maybe they can still contest this without the Necrophos, but I don't think they'll try for it. They'll destroy a Sentry Ward, I believe, or maybe it just expired. Now go for that tier 2. Roshan's not falling all that quickly, but still quick enough. No glyph is available for the Dire's side. Tower for Roche trade, fairly even. One we see all the time. Usually it's the safe lane tier 2, but OTPing there. The Gyrocopter's now going to be on the front lines as RMN really wants to catch up. They have a missile onto Cant. No way to cancel Winter Wyvern's TP in time, though. The missile is going to follow all the way across the map towards Winter Wyvern as they catch up. Go Black! He has a charge. Can he get it off? The damage is too high. And Scary Faces will get another kill to supplement that Roshan going the way. Scary Faces are getting slightly better exchanges for more heroes. But with all of these slightly better exchanges being transitioned into the Queen of Pain's Dagon, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike this build from Aximo at all. It's working out for him. It's just not going to scale nearly as nicely as something like a Scythe of Vice, a BKB, an Aghanim Scepter, an Assault Cuirass. More standard Queen of Pain fare. But for now, Scary Faces have a very good shot inside these fights. 29, 37 minutes into the game. Dagon 5 completed for the Queen of Pain. I don't really have time to look up how many times Dagon 5 has been built on Quap, but I'll say not that much. Not that much. It's not incredibly frequent. Now getting charged. This Queen of Pain probably is going to have to deal with Gold Black. I'd expect him to cancel this well before it actually connects. Gold Black wants it, and he wants it bad. The TP in from Aximo not going to be canceled. They're going down towards bottom lane. Aximo is going to be able to Dagon down the Winter Wyvern. Now Iceberg is going to be caught out, but a vacuum back. Armin's dropping low. Blink away by the Queen of Pain. She'll be fine. Iceberg's forced to pop to BKB, chasing for this line. Artsail's going to pop the Glimmer and jukes out the Templar Assassin as RMN and company are going to chase down the Necrophos. Templar Assassin's still around the corner. They're going to look to catch up the TA. The Earth Spike, unfortunately, a little bit off the mark, and the Force Staff isn't going to find her either. Still a great fight for Scary Faces. CIS rejects are losing momentum. This Templar Assassin is staying ahead, but the Necrophos really just hasn't been able to have the impact that he'd want to, as he's getting focused so mercilessly by Scary Faces. That part inside the game where CIS rejects are able to group up and push down indefinitely with the sustain just isn't as strong anymore. Aximo dropping low. Negative urn tick, I don't think that's lethal. It's close. 9 HP, Aximo survives. Calculated, I'm sure. Ugh. Now, Spirit Breaker is still a menace. Even without that much or that many items, can still threaten to kill on Queen of Pain. That's impressive. But now might be in a bit of trouble himself. They cancel the charge with the Hex from the Lion. And now Gold Black. We knew thee well. Gyrocopter will get the kill. Rocket Barrage and a couple more right clicks. 25 to 11. Scary Faces are not in a situation where they can necessarily push high ground, but they're still doing well for themselves this game. Ember Spirit has evaded detection. Now General looks to cut the creep wave, but he might be finding a little bit more than he bargained for. Darkseer and Winter Wyvern around the corner. General's going to get the chains onto the Darkseer, TPing out afterwards. The damage is going to be there. Winter's Curse onto General isn't going to save the Darkseer's life. And Newt, does he have another chains? Not quite. Not going to connect. Winter Wyvern will live, but Ember Spirit was able to play so aggressively. And now maybe they'll be able to catch up this Templar Assassin. Not with an Invis Rune. Looks like Iceberg will be fine, even to farm up a couple more Ancients on the retreat. Iceberg's going for massive damage, and I think that's what CIS rejects need. They need to start this fight off with either Winter's Curse or Reaper's Scythe, and have Templar Assassin be able to focus down that hero. But Scary Faces are making that really difficult. Even with the Aegis of the Immortal, it doesn't feel like they've been able to do that much with it, except for find the Ember Spirit to pick off here and there. The only reason General is able to make that play, look for the creep wave cut, and find the Darkseer there, is because he has the Aegis Immortal. If Ember Spirit didn't, there's almost no way. Oh, our men getting charged up. Gold Black's deep. Is going to have to back off. Here comes Queen of Pain. Her Dagon is huge. And you might be at the receiving end of it. They're going to get the Nether Strike. Oh, Reaper Scythe killing the Queen of Pain. Ramses is healing up. There's so much of this damage from the Gyrocopter. But they'll lose their Spirit Breaker. Now, our men in a bit of trouble. He's not their Aegis carrier. But CIS rejects don't have enough heroes left, and they don't have their big ultimates, the Winter's Curse and the Reaper's Scythe, any longer. So those can really add up a lot. If the Necrophos is able to start picking up those kills, can very easily get back into this game, as it looks like he's going to have his BKB shortly. With BKB, killing him off for Scary Faces could prove to be difficult. It'll severely limit their damage, which is very heavily magic damage focused. Even from the Gyrocopter hasn't transitioned into those big items, maybe an MKB is in his future, or a Butterfly, something along those lines, and the Ember Spirit is going to start patching that up too. He sends out a full Eye of Scotty. Now, General is starting to get pretty big. Pretty big, in fact. This is going to make it a lot harder for them to be able to get that instant jump kill onto him, but it's still not impossible. Scotty is a necessary pickup for General. He needs stats, but it's not going to be An Ember Spirit that can't be brought down. Especially now that his Aegis expires in just a second. BKB flying out to CIS Rejects. It feels like the ball's now in CIS Rejects' court to make the next play. And to go aggressive on the Scary Face's side of the map. Next round of runes. Maybe this is going to set something up, or maybe the charge on the Ember Spirit. General has not spotted this charge. The ward vision from Scary Faces isn't all that great for protecting him in mid, but it feels like he wants to TP down towards bottom. The charge has since been cancelled by GoBlack. Still pretty far away from that Glimmer Cape, and the Glimmer is already done for the Lion. Which is going to make it another situation where the Necrophos' ability to do damage is severely limited. I like the fact that CIS Rejects have the Necrophos and the TA together, patching up the weakness that the Necrophos just isn't that great outside of his magic damage output. It really does fall off. But if you're able to kill him in the duration of the Reaper's Scythe with the Templar Assassin, doesn't really matter all that much. And with a Daedalus now, if you get lucky, these heroes are going to get 1 or 2 shot. Especially the Lion with only 777 HP. CIS Rejects smoking. They're ready to go. What are they going to find, if anything? Oh, art style. You're stacking up Ancients, you're walking mid, right into a Necrophos. Reaper Scythe is there. Not going to kill him off, in fact, it does next to no damage. Glimmer keeping up, can the Lion survive here? Turns for Hex, now has a team behind him. Chains, Earthspike, connects onto 3, Finger of Death onto this Darkseer, is going to surge himself out of there. Dagging down, they'll lose GoBlack. Armin still dropping low to the Daedalus Templar Assassin. Ramses is still sustaining. Somehow the Lion still survives. Uphill misses. The Templar Assassin can't save Ramses. Now Iceberg's in a lot of trouble. A couple more Sideblade shots, but now Heart spiked up. Are you kidding me? That Force Staff coming out from Art Style. It's ridiculous. If that Lion goes down at the start of the fight, not only do CIS Rejects not have to deal with the vast amount of control that was thrown out from him, they don't have to be so afraid for the Necrophos' life because he wasn't able to get that kill that gives him those Sadist stacks to be able to take the engagement afterwards. I'm amazed that Lion's able to get out of there to safety, showing the power of those utility items, the Force Staff and the Glimmer Cape. When CIS Rejects just couldn't have a way to get on top of that high ground here. And it was also another one of the situations where, even though he's Reaper Scythe here, the Force Staff still went off before the animation from the Necrophos finished. One of those stretchy spells, if you will. Aghanim Scepter, as well as the gem, is up for the Night Stalker, and Scary Faces with that one fight are now getting so much in their favor. The Templar Assassin is huge, don't get me wrong, but can this Templar Assassin do it alone? I don't think so. She needs some backup from her team. They need to find a good jump in. And the one on the Lion last fight wasn't what they'd envisioned. Ooh. Now the dewarding commences. With the Calling Blade, Night Stalker is able to do this so very fast, and the ward vision already for CIS Rejects wasn't stellar, and now it's not going to be existent anymore. The Night Stalker might not even get up to this hill ward before it expires. They decides to instead go for mid, but CIS Rejects now have another BKB. It's up on the Darkseer. If he has BKB that last fight, maybe it's completely different. He was Finger of Death and was brought down so very low. Just a little bit more follow-up from Scary Faces, and the Darkseer was mostly a non-factor after the early part. This is the full teamfight build for Darkseer. Mech, Blink, Arcane's BKB. Pretty standard for Darkseer, but for good reason. Charge down towards bottom. General's picking a fight that he doesn't necessarily win. And Burst Spirit has a Demon Edge. She's gonna throw out another Sleight of Fist Chains. Goldblack is going to be locked down. Turns, maybe thinking about charging, but thinks better of it. The missile is going to fly and will connect. Goldblack with another Sleight of Fist will clear up the creep wave. And Scary Faces are now going aggressive on the CIS Reject side, which is not something we've seen for a long time in this game. Darkness will be popped, and CIS Rejects, even though they do have this deep ward, it's doing nothing for them. In just a second, it's gonna explode. They see nothing. Templar Assassin has no 100% idea of where anybody is except for the gyrocopter, and because of it can't stay as long as they kind of need her to apply pressure on the other side of the map. They also needed to push out bottom lane. This being pressured is Queen of Pain. Another Invis rune on Axmo. This is a Dagoneth played Queen of Pain. You definitely get flavor points for this Axmo, but it's a build that's working out. 9, 2, and 10. This is an offlane Queen of Pain. And Axmo is just controlling this game nicely. They're going to be charging up towards top, but Dyers spot this out with their ward. They know Goldblack's going for this Night Stalker. And they're going to have to cancel that charge. Oh, mid lane, Dagon. Oh, poor Winter Wyvern. He just can't do anything about that. Axmo pops Winter Wyvern's head like a balloon. Gyrocopter now is a butterfly. The rest of the heroes from Scary Faces are also getting really huge. That said, this is a game that CIS Reject can still turn around. The power of Necrophos, even without the Aghanim Scepter, that increased respawn timer and just the ability to get kills where usually you'd feel really safe on about half HP is amazing once the BKBs dwindle down in duration, especially on RMN. Roshan is going to be dropped incredibly low, and it looks like they're going to be able to take it. CIS Rejects can't contest because they have no idea where anybody is. They see nothing. And, of course, they probably have an inkling that they're probably going for Roshan. But what can we do about that, even though we know that intel? Have that intel, rather. In theory, they have a good Roshan team fight lineup, but not if you don't know which angle Scary Faces are inside the pit. Scary Faces have control of this map, and CIS Rejects are dangerously close from being eliminated from the GameShow Global Esports Cup if they lose the next couple of fights. This isn't over for sure. CIS Rejects can turn it, but it relies a lot on Scary Faces getting caught out of position, and that just hasn't happened very often. It also relies on Templar Assassin being able to get her physical damage output inside these fights. Templar Assassin right now has a DD rune, but is going to be hexed up. The line's going to call for backup. Iceberg can't get off his BKB yet. They'll void him. The silence is going to be taken off by the BKB. TP, is that going to succeed? They don't have a way to cancel it. The damage is high, but Templar Assassin will live. A close call. A close call. Without that BKB, it's a lot harder for the next upcoming engagement for them to defend. A necessary expenditure by the Templar Assassin. She has buyback, but really doesn't want to use it. And now that Ember Spirit has Eclipsed her and farm, has a Daedalus and Battle Fury, and is a lot harder for CIS Rejects to deal with than it is for Scary Faces to deal with the TA. The lockdown coming out from CIS Rejects is very ultimate dependent. Winter's Curse, Reaper's Scythe, even the Nether Strike from the Spirit Breaker. They don't have anything as low cooldown and consistent as Lion's whole kit. Just the Hex, the Earth Spike. It costs Scary Faces next to nothing. Scary Faces are going to be repelled. It's daytime. They don't have a darkness for 60 seconds, so things are going to slow down a little bit as they go for the tier 2 tower top. CIS Rejects probably can't get outside of their base convincingly to go look for a fight if they don't have a smoke. And they have two available. This is something that CIS Rejects can look to find those openings. For now, they're just going to try and D-word as much as possible and try to get some semblance of map control. Back again. I don't think they'll defend this tier 2 tower. It's just not worth it. It's not even that low right now. It just doesn't mean very much for CIS Rejects to risk losing their Templar Assassin's life and the Necrophos' life, and instead they'll just trade it for a tier 1 in bottom lane. Gyrocopter destroys the tier 2 a lot faster, and RMN's going to swing right up to the high ground. He has his butterfly, he has his helm, as the Lion, the Ember Spirit are the ones to respond. Lion will Force Staff looking for the Earth Spike, unsuccessfully so, as now they're going to charge forward on Art Style. Lion is going to be dusted, they'll vacuum him back. Reaper's Scythe, that is a very dead Lion. But Ember Spirit's back, and they're going for high ground. The tier 3 tower is falling, and CIS Rejects need to defend, and without the Reaper's Scythe, this is going to be really difficult for them. Now, Scary Faces only get the tier 3 tower. It is denied by the Darkseer too. But there's nothing to stop them from going for more. They still have 2 minutes duration on this Gyrocopter's Aegis the Immortal. And without having an MKB on this Templar Assassin, the evasion too means that RMN is very comfortable sitting on this high ground. Of course, as they keep on going for this, the Heartstopper Warrior is going to stack up. Nice vacuum back. No follow-up though. Charge forward, the Queen of Pain's going to blink into the charge, takes a little bit of damage, is able to Ghost Scepter, stopping a Templar Assassin from killing her. RMN's going to kill off his illusion, the right-click damage, Darkseer dropping low, and will go down as he mops up the rest of the melee barracks. Top Queen of Pain blinks in, Sonic Wave kills off Goblack, and now hastes out to safety. Just like that, Scary Faces now have a lot more momentum as CIS Rejects, their window is closing very rapidly with the amount of damage coming out from Scary Faces. Necrophos wants to take these long, drawn-out engagements, and wants to get value out of his heal and his Reaper's Scythe. You want to start off the fight with a huge amount of burst, get that first Reaper's Scythe kill, and then just keep the Necrophos in the middle of the ground to benefit from the Death Pulse that have the Templar Assassin right-clicking all through that, but Scary Faces have too much control and damage right now inside these team fights. They're making this Dagon 5 Queen of Pain work, and she doesn't actually commit fully for the F-Blade. It's actually going to go for a Lincoln Sphere. A really good pickup from Axmo. I like it a lot. If they can't have those single target initiating tools, there's just no way that CIS Rejects are able to take the fight. They do have the global way to pop it with the Spirit Breaker's charge, so I suppose that's something that CIS Rejects can do to counterplay this Lincoln Sphere. But still, it's an amazing high ground pushing item. Drop that on the Gyrocopter, and RMN has nothing to fear. Gyrocopter isn't going to have his Aegis for much longer, though. And I don't think they're going to get value out of this Aegis. If they try to push high ground now, Scary Faces can be punished. But by all means, stay on the enemy side of the map. By all means, keep up this pressure. CIS Rejects aren't getting anything except for Templar Assassin's farm. Which is now meaning very little to nothing. Templar Assassin is, for all intents and purposes, 6-slotted. You can get Moonshard, replace the Power Treads with Boots of Travel. Maybe even consider replacing the Desolator with something else. But really, this is about as strong as TA is going to get relative to the enemy team. They need a blink on this Winter Wyvern, I feel, if they're going to find the angles of initiation that they really need inside these fights. Scary Faces are controlling the map, and there's not much that they can do to stop this. Night Stalker will continue de-warding, and the power of an Aghanim Night Stalker is ridiculous. The Radiant team see next to nothing. Darkness is popped, and this ward can only see the ramp. Oh no, not like this. Night Stalker isn't present for this fight down towards bottom lane, but it almost is enough to kill off the Necrophos. So much damage, and Scary Faces don't have to commit anything for it, and it's a BKB charge down the tubes. Necrophos is down to 8 seconds now. They'll throw another Sleight of Fist onto the high ground. Ember Spirit's forced to remnant away. He has more where that came from. Has a cheese, too. Let's see CIS Rejects throw everything in General. I don't think they can do it, and it really relies on getting crits. General can blink into the base, he gets a Sleight of Fist, and casually remnants out. He's able to keep that up. Pretty much every creep wave. And the creep push is going to favor Scary Faces. We have a Mud Golem. Helm of the Dominator on the Gyrocopter is what's making this creep go, but right now the Helm of Dominator might not save you against Skullblack. He has the mischance, but the MKB's up for Iceberg. The physical damage on RMN is pretty huge, but Queen of Pain's in the backlines. They'll blow up the Winter Wyvern, and they just can't quite chase fast enough. The Gyrocopter lives, and maybe the rest of his team not so lucky. The Night Stalker sees everything. Earth Spike on a Skullblack. They're fighting against the Ember Spirit, but he pops the cheese. Now back up at fit fighting shape. They'll get a Reaper Scythe kill on RMN. Down the sidelines for 2 minutes, but Ramses is going to die even with the Sadist regen. Triple kill for General. Killing spree for Axmo, and GG's called. CIS Rejects, they recognize that they really can't do anything. They're eliminated from the GameShow Global Esports Cup, and Scary Faces will be going against Empire tomorrow. Going into this matchup, a lot of people wouldn't have expected Scary Faces to take this, but in their last showing in the GameShow Global Esports Cup, Scary Faces had a 2 over CIS Rejects, and in general, it feels like they kind of have their number. GG well played to both of the teams. CIS Rejects, especially game number 2, so commandingly going in their favor. But do not give Scary Faces any room if you're playing up against them. You need to make sure that they don't get the chance to control the map, because they're very good once they get that map control. If you're in a situation like game 2 where they never get any momentum going their way, Scary Faces, of course, aren't going to be able to do anything with it. But from ahead, Scary Faces are terrifying. 2-1 victory over CIS Rejects. Thanks for watching. That's it all from the GameShow Global Esports Cup. If you move on to GameShow_D2N_2, we'll have a series from the American region, currently being casted by Michael, so I'll be taking over there in just a little bit. I've been GrandisV. If you like the cast, you can follow me on Twitter under that name, and I hope to see you soon for more of the GameShow Global Esports Cup. It's been fun, and it still will be for the rest of the evening, packed with Dota 2. Stay here.